So again, you plot an input from x and then draw dotted line to the line y equals to 6 and then see where is the output y. So in this example, we will notice that one input from x produces one output here, and there's another input x here produces the same output. So this kind of relationship is called the many to one point here. So many to one. So if it is many to one, therefore we can say y equals to 6 is a function because there's only one output. Next, for x equals to 5, if we draw the line x equals to 5, this is how it's going to look like in blue. Then from here, similarly, we take one value of x, x is equals to 5, therefore we have only one input here, x equals to 5, but we can have many output. So again, this kind of relationship is one to many. So if it is one to many, then we can say x equals to 5 is not a function. Okay? Now let's look at exercise 3.2 in your module. The question says, which of the following graphs represent a function of x? Alright? So the first graph is given as this. So what you need to do is to plot some of the input and see how is the output. So from here we can see one input produces one output. Another input here produces a different output. So we can say that this relation is a 1 to 1 relation. So if it is one input and one output, hence we can say this line is a function. Example B, if we are given a curve, same thing, we try to take one input from x and then we try to find how many outputs are there. So for one input here we can find two outputs. Similarly, if we take one input x here, we can find two outputs. So this kind of relation is called one to many. So since it is one to many, we can say that this curve is not a function. Example C, for this curve, if you draw the lines, one input from x and then find the output, you will realize that there's only one input produces one output. One input produces one output, so therefore this kind of relation is 1 to 1. So if it is 1 to 1, then we can say this curve is a function. Next, for this curve, so what we do is to do the same thing, one input, one output. We have one input from x-axis produces one output. So this is also a relation of 1 to 1. So for 1 to 1, it is known as a function. For question E, we are given another curve here where there are two sections in this curve. So if we plot the input from x, okay, so one input from x and then it will produce one output on the y-axis. So similarly here we have one input of x produces one output. So this is actually a 1 to 1 relation. So 1 to 1 relation is known as a function. Okay. Next, for this straight line in blue, alright, so the same thing, we will find one input here and then we have one output, and the same input will produce another output. So therefore this is a 1 to many relation. So for a 1 to many relation, therefore we say this is not a function. A function must have only one output, remember that. Okay, let's move on to the next subtopic known as function, domain and range. So what is actually a domain? Now domain is a set of all values of x that can define the y. Alright? So in other words, domain is actually the value, all the values of x where y can be defined. Okay? So this value of x, of course, you can find from the x-axis. And then for range, range is a set of all values of y. Okay? All values of y from given domain. Alright? So